Hello again. This is Jim, and I'm working today to show you a little bit of something about using spiral with 3DS. There are a couple of surprising little tricks that you have to use in order to have spiral work properly for you. It's an interesting tool, and here I'm going to show you this little key. Let me put a little box around it. This key right here, or keyhole, I guess would be the proper term for it. This circle is our locator to the center of the spiral. Imagine this is the profile of the spiral and rotating around this center. So our radius on this spiral would be an approximately, I think I've got it set at about 4 inches. Yeah, you can see 4 inches right there. So we've got a 4-inch radius, and I give a locator circle, as you know, I always use. And we'll save this drawing. Here it is, spiral 2. And we've already copied, but I'll go Control C just for fun. And we've copied the key and the locator circle. And we'll go to a new part. Here's a new part. And we are already in sketch mode, so Control T. And here's our spiral and our locator circle. Now, in spiral, as it turns out, the plane means something, but where you locate doesn't mean anything. You can just stick it anywhere you want, because our radius is the 4 inches to the center of our profile of the spiral. But you have to draw a reference line. These are reference lines right here. And that reference line is the axis for the rotation around which the spiral object is going to spiral. I didn't do that properly. Let me do it again. We snap onto the center of our locator circle and give any length of a reference line. It's just saying what direction do you want and where do you want that spiral to take place. I'm going to get rid of our locator circle now. Delete. And here we go. We've now got our profile of the spiral, and we've got our axis, which is the center axis of what our spiral is going to rotate around. So let's go into part modeling and pick helix is what they define it as. Helical boss is what they call it, but it always opens with some constant. I don't know where they got this 9.843 inches, but that's always what it comes up with. And you have to, here it says height and pitch. Well, I'm not 100% sure what pitch means, but I do know what height and revolutions means. How many times around, and what would be the height of my spiral. And so I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to say, let's pick something at random. Let's say 7 inches. And as it happened, it went ahead and did it. But 7 inches with a bunch of spirals. But I can go back, and we can try again with activate sketch, 2D sketch, Control T. Got to pick a plane, remember. And there's our sketch, Control T, and we'll just paste that right back in there. And escape to get rid of what's on our clipboard. And again with the sketch line, or the reference line rather, and 90 degrees, and get rid of our reference circle. He said, there we go. And back to part modeling, helix. And we pick height and pitch. No, let's go height and revolution, and let's go 7 inches, and let's go 2.5 revolutions. It seems like it doesn't want to take that. Let's go 3. It took that. And okay. And there's 3 times around. 1, 2, 3 times around. And there's our profile. And click an empty space to set it. And we have this really nice little oddly profiled spring. Keyhole spring, I'll call it. But we don't have to go the 4-inch radius. We can go 4-inch radius, in fact, would challenge my 3D printer. I don't have a large stage. So let's back out of that and let's try something else. Let's go to Activate 2D Sketch and let's paste it again. Control T. Yeah, approximately in the same place just for clarity. And this time we'll get rid of our locator circle. As said, get rid of the locator circle. And this time, let's just pick a place. These are 1/5 of an inch grid. So that's a half right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8/5 is what point? Right there. And notice it wasn't particular about where I started the reference line or where I ended it. All it wants to do is know what's the center and what's the direction. That's all that you're giving it when you give it a reference line. And so now we can go into part modeling. We can go to Helix again. And you see it starts out again with that 9.843 whatever. And this time I want to go 6. And I don't want to go height and pitch. I want to go height and revolution. And I want to go 6, and I want to go 3 revolutions. And there it goes. And you see that it just chose to go around that center line. It didn't matter how tall that reference line was. You just define all of that in that dialog box. And there it is. But there's a couple of other things that you need to think about with this Helix program here. Let's get rid of that again. And let me show you something more complicated. Again, we'll go to Sketch, Activate 2D Sketch. What if you were building a ball, a fun little thing, you know, that you were trying to make a ball fall down a spiral and do other things like a Jules Goldberg machine. Well, as it happens, we do have other sketches that we can open, and I'll go ahead and open this one. I'm going to close this sketch, the keyhole profile sketch. No, I don't want to save any of that. And we'll let it quit, and then we'll open a new file. I created this in AutoCAD. And look at this complexity. This is quite a complex little drawing. It's got, you can imagine this is a trough or an inflatable water slide or some idea that you've got. Maybe it's a ball railroad that you're creating, and this is the little spiral. The balls are going to fall down from the top down to the bottom. But notice something. I did not polyline this. Normally, these are all individual lines. Normally, 3ds wants polylines, but polylines don't seem to work very well with 3ds Spiral or Helix program. So let's copy this. These are all just individual lines. I created it, and then I never turned it into a polyline and imported it directly into 3ds drawing. And Control C, copy it. For some reason, if you bring it in as a polyline, 3ds does not want anything to do with it. 3ds Spiral, that is. Control C. Oops, Control T. There we are. And you see my keyhole is still there because I'm using the same old part. I'll just paste it up here. That part doesn't exist. That's just the remnant ghost left behind. Now, let's draw our reference line. And remember, we don't need, in fact, finding a center here means absolutely nothing. It's whatever that distance is from the center of this right here, and we can come out here, I don't know what that is, but I just pick it and I go 90 degrees again, says 90, and I click it. And I don't know what that is, so let's see, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. What's that, 5 inches? 20, no, that'd be 4 inches. 25ths. That's about 4 inches to the center of this. So now we'll go to part modeling. Let's go to Helix again. And you see it starts out. Remember, did you see me draw that reference line down? Well, now my spiral would go down. If I want it to go up, all I have to do is hit reverse, and there it goes up. And I don't want height and pitch. I want height and revolution. Because in my design for my ball railroad, for example, I might have determined that that was 10 inches. My 3D printer can handle 10 inches just fine. And the number of revolutions would be 5. Why not? Okay, let's go. There it goes. Wow, look at that. And you can see there's the ball railroad. The spiral of balls that just go in and out and click to the elevator and up they go again. But you can see that you could print this. If your 3D printer could handle something 10 inches high and 8 inches wide, then it would print this spiral, especially if you give it enough support. But this is how you use this spiral program. The two things to remember is you have to have a reference line that represents, and it's all on the same plane, remember? The profile is on one plane and the spiral axis is on the same plane. And all it's doing is saying, what's the radius, what's the direction? And then you go into the dialog box and you can tell it how tall you want the spiral and how many revolutions around do you want the spiral. And that's pretty easy to remember. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll do another tutorial here pretty quick.